Bonjour. The IS-7 is one of the oldest vehicles that is in World of Tanks. However, that really doesn't mean anything because in a platoon of these, it is absolutely devastating. And even though that when it's solo, it's a little bit more sad and upset IS-7, it's still a very, very good vehicle. In this video, I'm going to be going through everything you need to know about this tank, a full guide on the IS-7, and hopefully by the end of it, you should be well informed about the vehicle. And in these guides, I'm actually going to try and speed up a little bit and maybe include a little bit more gameplay in them so that it's a little bit nicer viewing experience. Let's begin, shall we? To start things out, we need to speak about the gun. What do you need to know? 490 Alpha, very, very good. 250 Standard Pen, very, very bad. Premium Pen at 303 APCR, oh dear. 68mm of penetration on the HE rounds though is pretty nice, and you can HE quite a few things. The aim time is atrocious. The dispersion is not great, but also not terrible considering it has 490 Alpha. And the dispersion values for the actual bloom levels is fine overall. Be warned though, when you do increase speed, you then increase the bloom. So please be aware of this, and a stab is probably mandatory on this vehicle. At least if you want to play it properly with using the gun. But we'll move on to that in a little bit. It has a 130 caliber gun, which means that you can overmatch quite a few things. STRVs, don't care about them. You go straight through and overmatch them. Very nice indeed. The ammo capacity is only 30 rounds, which means that you will encounter issues when choosing your ammo type. Especially considering that you don't really have good pen either way, a lot of people will just go and use full gold, and that is completely understandable. You only have 30 rounds at the end of the day, you need to choose your ammo choices wisely. But that does also mean that I would never use more than 2 or maybe 3 HE on this vehicle because it's really not worth it. The gun depression is only -6, but that is to be expected for a Soviet heavy. Let's be honest, none of them have good gun depression. Gun elevation on the other hand is actually 18, which is not bad at all, to be fair, and I've actually been in situations where the IS-7 has just kept looking up at me, and I am very, very scared when it does that. Now, as we move on to mobility, the top speed on this vehicle, it's kind of a lie because it never actually reaches it, unless you do some interesting builds, let's say. You have 59.6, don't ask me why it's 0.6, I don't know either, but you also go 15 in reverse, which is quite a stark difference between the two. You do have 17 power to weight, which is very good. However, the terrain resistances are atrocious, which then means your effective top speed is 51 on hard, 37 on medium, and 21 on soft. Now, obviously, if you go ahead and put Brothers in Arms and off-road driving, this will increase quite a bit. You now go at 52 on hard and 40 on medium and soft, but still, you're not reaching that top speed of 59. It's not actually until you put food on the vehicle and then you choose the first left-hand field mod, like this, that you actually even see the 59 km/h top speed, and even then, you never reach it on the medium or the soft. So it is kind of a lie that it goes this fast, unless you're on like tarmac or something like that. Now continue along this trend, because I do want to obviously point out the ultimate speed build for this vehicle, and a lot of people, this is why they love the IS-7, is because it weighs 68 tons and it goes at 60 km/h. If you then go ahead and put a turbo on the vehicle, which I actually recommend you don't pick a normal turbo, you actually go with a bounty turbo, and then in the slot for the mobility, you then choose grousers. Yes, you then go pretty fast, but you still don't actually reach the top speed on medium or soft. You're pretty close, but you're not quite there. And the thing is, the 7th field mod on this, if you go with the top forward speed, it's only ever on hard, because you're never reaching it on medium or soft. Now, you could go ahead and pick vents, which would boost it up, but that's just a bit of a, yeah, no, I don't agree with this, because this is a speed build. What you want here is hardening, and that is the ultimate kind of ram into anything and go for the top speed. But what you can do is then use fuel, and you would get very, very close to that top speed for medium and soft. That is what I would recommend for your top speed build and the meme build and just running into people and YOLOing stuff, because, yeah. But just be aware, if you probably YOLO into me, you won't be able to message me after the game because they'll probably be on my blacklist. But this does bring up the point for everybody else that's not going to use like the meme kind of speed build, which is that, yes, the left-hand field mod is basically mandatory on this tank. And hardening, yeah, sure, it's nice to have, but if you're actually going to be playing it properly, Turbo Rammer Stab is probably it. But we'll move on to equipment a little bit later. The armor on this vehicle is insane. Let's just put it that way. As you will see, everywhere is red. But then we need to remember that this tank doesn't actually have any pen. Even with the premium rounds, yeah, it's all red. So let's go ahead and use a 113 with 340 heat. And as you'll see, yes, this turret is insanely strong. And even the upper hull is very, very well angled, which means that, yeah, you're going to need about 330 pen to go through here, which is directly center of the pike nose. And for those wondering what I mean about the pike nose, you'll see at the front of this vehicle, it curves inwards or slants inwards to make a pike nose effect at the front here. This also then means that you can't side scrape in the IS-7, at least not frontally, because once you do, the sides then become very, very weak and everybody will pen you here. But what you can do with the IS-7 is reverse side scrape. And even though that, yes, this is exposed, when you try and wiggle and go backwards and forwards and try and be very, very annoying, and you can even over-angle a little bit, this then is not pennable by heat rounds. Yes, if you were to use standard rounds, you would be able to pen this. But this is very, very hard to hit in comparison to, well, doing this at the front and just exposing this entire section of your tank. So if you do know what you're doing with reverse side scraping, you can get away with this, but just be careful as well because they can still pen this. But if you are fully hull down and you're using your 6 degrees of gun depression, even 340 heat, you're not penning this. Unless you get insanely lucky and go in between where the gun meets the hull, you're not penning it. The side armor on this vehicle is insanely troll, including the turret. As you will see here, if we're just using AP, you need like 300 pen to go for the side of the turret. And this is purely because of the way the turret is sloped at the sides here. The turret is so well rounded and curved here that as you move around, you'll see that it just becomes very, very hard to pen because of the angle that it is at. Now the rear is actually not that well angled and not that well armored. So you can actually pen the back right here every single time if you are looking at it at roughly the same kind of height or a little bit taller than it. But the side armor, this can actually be very troll. The thing is, if you're using heat, you can actually get absorbed here right along this plate right here. If we have a look at the visual style, you'll see that this little bar here, you may think is completely flat. Well, it doesn't, because actually that then curves downwards into the IS-7. So this is not actually flat, and you're going to need a lot of pen to go through it. So if you ever aim at an IS-7, you either go below, and hopefully you don't hit the tracks with heat, or you go above that little bar where it's going to go slanting towards the turret. And just briefly speaking about the IS-7's overmatches, there are a few things you need to be aware of. The very front is actually 45mm to overmatch on the upper hull, but it is extremely slim to actually hit it. As you'll see, if we use an E100, which has obviously a 150 caliber gun, anything greater than 135 will be able to overmatch this part of the IS-7 right here, but the rear and also leading up to it is only 30mm thick on the upper engine deck, and then as you go here, you'll see that it slowly changes, or quite abruptly changes into 30mm from 45. The very top of the roof is only 30mm thick, and also the top of the cupolas as well. The belly of the IS-7 is also only 30mm thick, which means if you are rocking up and down, you're going to go through it if you're using AP or OPCR for the majority of tanks that you meet. Side skirts, etc., don't need to worry about this. You're never getting overmatched here. Yeah, they are very, very strong. You don't need to worry about that at all. For the rest of the survivability stats, you have 2,400 health, which means that if you do get fully maxed out with the fill mods, that is 2,480. If you use hardening in the correct slot, 2,720. And then bounty hardening, 2,750, with bond hardening being 2,790. And if you were using experimental hardening, it would go to 2,700, although I don't really recommend this unless you really are getting a lot of ammo racks or set on fire. We've already spoken about the track health and how it's kind of irrelevant for this because you're going to use a left-hand fill mod anyway. As we've already said, this weighs 68 tons, and that does mean if you do use controlled impact, you can do a lot of damage with rams, especially if you're going at full speed and you build up a lot of momentum down a hill. This also gets 400 meters view range, which is exactly the same as the 277, and I don't really know why this gets 400 meters. This should get a lot less, being a heavy tank, but there you go. Now, as we move on to the equipment, we've already mentioned a little bit about it. As I said in the when talking about mobility, turbo, rammer, stab. I think this is the mandatory one for most people. If you don't want stab, then of course you could go ahead and pick hardening, and then there you go, you have your HP turbo rammer. But for me personally, I am going to be using stab for this video. Now, as we also already mentioned, for the speed build on this vehicle, grousers are very, very good and kind of mandatory if you do want to reach your top speed. You then have obviously the turbo and then hardening for getting the maximum out of the rams. This is a meme build. We don't care about the rammer or any other piece of equipment. It's purely there to try and ram stuff, and in a platoon of 3 of these things is where it's most effective. On its own, it's not really that much fun. And to be honest with you, if you do get a group of 3 players that know what they're doing in this vehicle, you can completely decimate an entire flank within minutes, just the 3 of you. For the crew skills on this vehicle, it actually kind of depends on what you're going to be doing with the tank, because if you're going to be using fuel and then no medkit, 100% pick mentor. Because then if your gunner or someone else gets knocked out besides your commander will then go and replace them with 75% effectiveness. At least in the configuration that I have currently. For the rest of it, it's pretty self-explanatory. Brothers in Arms, repairs, recon, coordination, and then practicality to try and get other stuff off cooldown, repair kit, etc. And just in general, practicality, quite nice after they buffed it a little bit as well. For the gunner, we have Brothers in Arms, repairs, snapshot, armor, and then Deadeye. And then for the last one, I would probably end up picking designated target. We don't bother with quick aiming anymore, and we don't bother with concentration because, I mean, this cancels each other out, and this one is just useless. For the driver, we have Brothers in Arms, repairs, off-road driving, controlled impact, and engineer. These are all pretty self-explanatory why you'd pick them. The last one is either clutch braking or smooth ride. Personal preference at the end of the day. Loader, the same kind of thing, but we have safe stowage, intuition, and ammo tuning. The last one, either you have perfect charge or adrenaline rush. Again, personal preference for which one you would like to pick. And for the second loader, obviously the top bit needs to be exactly the same as the other loader, otherwise you only get 50% efficiency of the perks. Both of these need to be exactly the same if you actually want one of these perks to work. But for the bonus perks, which will be the radio operator, we have situation awareness, we have firefighting, and we have side-by-side. If you're going to be in a platoon of 3 of these things, you should all have side-by-side because then you just get boosted by each other. Now, we've already briefly touched on the field mods, but just to go through them to make sure everybody is aware, we go left, right, then we go left, and then right again. The first one we've already mentioned in detail to how it actually affects the top speed of the vehicle, so that's kind of been spoken about already. We then have the circle size. You always choose circle size over aiming because if the circle is smaller, you don't have to aim as long. Not only that, but you do also get the benefit that your circle size is smaller when fully aimed, whereas the aim time can't do anything other than when you are trying to aim. You then get free view range, which is an actual detriment to the stun duration, but it's only 10%, so it doesn't matter. And then we have the top forward speed, which again, we've already spoken about. Yes, it does help with the hard terrain, but not so much with the soft and the medium. And then the last one, we then have the hit points at the detriment to some movement and hold traverse. Honestly, this is fine. Take the hit points, and then you're a little bit more healthy. Okay, so for our first game, we're on Erlenberg. Now, I'm going to be playing probably 3 games in this video, just to give you a full rundown of the IS-7. I don't think we're ever going to use the meme build, because that is more for when you're in a platoon with other people, and it's just kind of not as fun if you're on your own. Or it's definitely less effective if you're on your own. But we are going to be, obviously, zooming our way into position where we can get some shots on anybody that is crossing early on. Or at least that is the plan. Maybe we can get a shot into this 116. No, we cannot, unfortunate. But we're just going to start aiming at this corner here. And we'll just wait to see if anybody wants to cross. Usually there is one. We can put one into the Badger. Unfortunately, we're never going to track him. I mean, he does have... I don't know if he has hardening or not, to be fair. If he does have hardening, then we're never going to track him anyway, but at least not in one shot. But now we just need to sit here and wait to see what we can actually shoot. Now this IS-7 is actually trying to peek this, which I'm not too sure if we have a shot on him. If he goes up too far, then we definitely do, but... Oh, there. He actually is trying to peek this, which is interesting. The 116 is pushing up. We can put one into that guy. Once into his cupola. And then we're just waiting. We just wait. He has a 3-round autoloader. He isn't the most accurate thing in the world. They put one into the side of the vehicle. I mean, that wasn't exactly well aimed, but I guess we should have aimed it better. The Badger being here is quite annoying. Like, there is no way I can actually pen this guy. A little bit of a precarious situation here at the moment. I mean, what would be really nice if the mediums could then push up and we can start taking this side and then they can flank around. That would make it very, very nice for us to play. This guy peeked across as well, which is really not great for us. However, we might be able to go and play against the 705, maybe. I'm not sure. The IS-4 pushing into there is really not very good. I'm just going to try and cross this. I need to try and get out of this situation because it's really not a very, very good situation for me to be in. So we go wide, we'll go around, and we'll see if we can just try and escape out of this way. So let's see if we can just sit on this corner. We have people with us over this side as well, which is very, very good. Again, we're going to be reverse side scraping to see if we can get the most out of this. And we are definitely going to need APCR for the Badger. Even with the lower plate, that's a problem to try and pen this. Although the Badger is moving around like this. I don't know what he's doing. 705 being here is very annoying. I can put one into you. You fired two. So this guy's actually on reload now. And we know this. He's now trying to run away. And he has quite a long reload, actually. So we can just try and put one into this guy as he's running. And then he will die. We were counting the shots, which is very, very good. And then we can now go and just try and play against this IS-7. Try and not get taken a shot from that guy. We can take a shot for the IS-7. That's not an issue. Not well aimed. I mean, low pen as well, which doesn't help, but we don't want to go and face hug him because that is going to be very, very bad. Okay. Now that he is shot, though, we can then put one into here. And then he will die, and we can then deal with this 705A as well. Not a high damage game, but it's okay. It's an okay start to, you know, figuring out the tank. Been a while since I played the IS-7. I feel like we played okay with it. There wasn't loads and loads of opportunities to get loads and loads of damage out of this game, in my opinion, but, you know, once into him, and we need to try and run as well to get out the way of anybody that might be trying to snipe. The Gorilla is still over there. In fact, there is still opportunity to get damage done in this game. We need to be careful of the 268. That is a problem that we need to be aware of. We're still going to be obviously using the APCR. Everyone has been spotted. We should actually just try and push this and kill this. The number one tank that I need to die is actually the UDES, because he will be able to run away and hide. So we need to see if we can catch him as he runs. This guy peeking up is an issue, but however we do have 1,500. So he will then die, and we can then just deal with this guy. Doesn't matter. Driver is dead, which is a problem, but there you go. Just go backwards, and then he shows the lower plate. The arty is drowning over there because he's a lovely, lovely human. Is he actually going to drown? Please don't drown. Yep. Should be a permaban for that, but there you go. Clearly he was just lagging, you know. And of course it misses, but there you go. And the best thing of all, apply. So obviously not a great start to the game, but in the end we did manage to clean up and get a little bit more damage out of it. Not an insane damage game, but good enough. And for those wondering, we completed a mission which was 120k credits. I don't know which one. Yes, we also basically made credits anyway, so pretty good. We are obviously running credit boosters as well, so take that into consideration. Okay, so for our next game, we're on Abbey, which isn't exactly the best of maps, but we'll try and make do with it. There is a 50B, E100, and VZ55. Now, this is not too bad to deal with. The E100 is a very big issue for the IS-7. You cannot pen the frontal, frontally anymore in the turret because, yeah, they buffed it, and 303 pen is useless against that. So we have to go for the T-bar at the top, or go for the side or the rear. Even the lower plate is a little bit precarious when you try and shoot it, but we'll see, we'll see. Obviously, we are going to go to the heavy side and see what we can do. The 50B has actually gone down the medium tank flank, which is interesting. But we're going to get here first of all, and then we're going to aim, and we're going to see if we can get a shot on anybody that is trying to cross this. That is always the best play to do at the start. Sometimes people will go here, and then it's a little bit more annoying, but sometimes when people do cross side on like this, you can then get easy shots. Considering our VK's reached it and the T-57, I don't think many people are going to be crossing this. The E100 has been spotted down that side of the flank as well. I mean, okay, so that means there's only a VZ55, a Type 68, a Charmer and the Leo PTA that could be down here. So that means that we should probably be a little bit more aggressive because most of them are down this way. So let's try and be more aggressive here. We'll ask the team for help and see if they actually respond. But let's see what we can do. They're probably going to be camping up here, which is pretty common. Well, there is nobody here. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you very much, IS-7 gun. That was very kind of you. And we do take one in return, which is not very good. And this guy, we can spot him, so that's good that we can do that. But he is going to be a little bit annoying for us, especially with standard rounds. And even with premium rounds, it's going to be a bit annoying for us to deal with him. So what we're going to do is back off. We should be unspotted as well. And then we can go down and around that way. There's no point going up this way and then going down, because we'll just get spotted, and then anything else that is at the back will become an issue. In fact, you know what? It's not even worth pushing that. If we're going to take the base, we should go back to the base. In these types of situations, you can push the base and then win, but also this is probably going to get pushed, and then it's... When it's a decision between you want to go back to the base or you want to attack, usually going back to the base is the best way of actually winning the game, because you make sure that nobody can cap out. At the same time, though, you could then get capped out anyway because you don't get back it fast enough, or there's a little rock here that they hide behind. Many different things that can be obviously altering this. But what we want to do is actually ignore this completely and go down. I need to get this guy out the way. Put one into him. The E100 is there. We actually managed to make sure that he's spotted as well. Oh, yeah, sure. Right, the E100 is behind a rock. The E50 is here. What I need to do is actually get down from here and kill the 50B, ideally. I think we're going to lose this regardless. I should have got down here earlier. I'm actually going to load HE for this guy. There we go, 600. We can angle a little bit, hopefully. No? Okay then. I mean, we are winning though. So, that is okay. And of course, he then ammo-racks us, and the engine is knocked out, which is just fantastic. Yeah, I shouldn't have pushed down this. I should have pushed down earlier. I pushed down too late. I messed up this game. But we still win this. Get the ammo rack back. Can't actually push too far. I wait for my Leo to push, and then maybe we can actually deal with... Oh no, the Leo PTA is low. Okay. Well, I have to fight this guy then. And just try and get the... Look at the gun depression, man. Right, you're not looking this way. I can put one into you. Back off. Can we start playing normally now, Max, please? He's actually... Wait, is he using the... He's using the small gun. Okay. E100? Where are you looking? He's actually semi-looking this way, which is not good. I mean, I just fired. Maybe he'll try and peek again. This is actually a very hard shot for him to end up hitting. Alright, let's ignore the E100 now. I was hoping my team would just like push him if he's trying to shoot me, but they apparently didn't want to. I mean, we were just too slow. We were just way too slow in this game. Like, we misplayed massively. Like, we should have dropped down way earlier. Because when we dropped down, we then couldn't actually fight the 50B. He had already run off. Like, we get a random ricochet on the 50B. I don't know how. But that's besides the point. Like, we played bad and we lost out damage because of it. And we can still apply. We should have got a lot more damage out of that game, and our poor decision making and poor gameplay actually lost us damage. And if we had lost that game, it 100% would have been my fault as well. But I mean, that also shows that the gun depression on the IS-7 is very annoying to deal with as well. Like when we're fighting the 50, when we're doing trying to get the shot on the 50B as well, it's very annoying at times. And in World of Tanks day and age, where a lot of it is hold down gameplay and a lot of mounds and kind of hills, it's really annoying to play the IS-7 sometimes. Really annoying. Okay, so we're now on Murovanka. I've also just noticed that my camera is like way too far forwards, but whatever. You just have to deal with it for this video, I guess. Murovanka, right hand side, we go and try and be annoying up in the E1 sort of region. The problem is that we can't really play anywhere else. We could go to the forest, but in my experience, the forest usually ends up with 0 damage for a heavy tank, and then you just start chasing damage in the end game. Which, this tank definitely can chase damage, but I wouldn't want to chase damage. Like, if I can prevent trying to chase damage, I will. Obviously, pushing this across this point is always going to be a little bit annoying. Put one into this guy. Not really going to pen that ever, but it's worth a try. You never know at the end of the day. You miss every shot you don't take. And we are definitely going to need APCR for this. Because, yeah, it's standing around against this guy. Not really going to... I mean, to be fair, if he's side on like that, then maybe. But if he's actually facing me, I'm going to need premium to go through him. Ooh, hello DBV. 1 NTU, thank you very much. And we're just playing on the reload. Trying to get the most out of this. As I said, premium rounds are going to be needed for this. He can't pen me. Hello. Yeah, bit annoying, I know. Oh well. Peek up again, see if the DBV is peeking. This guy may peek again. 1 into DBV. Obviously we want to aim for the DBV, not the UDAS. UDAS is pretty useless. We can't really pen him. At least not reliably anyway. And then we can put 1 into this guy as well, as he is a little bit over peaking. And we can trade some of our hit points for a little bit of a better situation as well. I want to see if this guy's over peaking again. He sort of is. But at the same time, I don't want to keep like trading my hit points with him. You know, I will need them for later on in the game. Like, it's all well and good trading hit points, but it's also knowing when you need to preserve your hit points as well. Especially, you know, you don't want to get accidentally hit by something. And then you lose a lot of hit points and you're then dead because you traded for no real reason against people. We managed to put 1 into the UDAS again. The nice thing is that this DBV, when he keeps peeking up, he does get spotted, at least if he doesn't go into the bush. So that is a benefit for us. So we always know that a DBV is around here. I'm a little bit worried about this. I mean, we are up on HP for this side of the map. I can't see what's happening over the other side. So we might be down on HP overall. But we're okay at the moment for this side. We're holding it pretty well. What would be really, really nice is if to get this guy out the game. Like, and I honestly want to trade hit points to get him killed, but okay, we won't need to. The problem with the IS-7, we've already mentioned gun depression. Very bad. Really, really bad. This guy might peek up though. If he does, then this is actually very, very good. We don't quite have the angle for it though. Let's see. Do we get an angle at all over here? We might do. We actually kind of have an angle for this. It needs to peek up a little bit more to actually get the shot, but the problem is the FVs still exist. I don't know where the FVs are, and I am very scared about them. Because that's it. All my hit points are gone. Especially if they both fire AP at me. Like, that's it. It's over. 260 actually trying to be very aggressive there. I want to peek up and see if I can spot the crosser. He's not being spotted though. Try and shoot his cupola. It's probably not going to hit, let's be honest, but it's worth a try. Can I actually pen his roof? Can I overmatch his roof? No. So I will need to go for the cupola if I actually want to pen him. We are down on HP now though, which is not good. And that TVP is just out of render as well. We have to just play slowly. And I think we may have to even go behind a house here to try and avoid the artillery fire. I can't afford to just keep getting hit by artillery over and over again. I mean, it is 7-3. We are winning on tanks. I want to see if this Jagdpanzer is still here. He is still here. Just being spotted tells me enough that he is still there. I don't need to spot him to know that he's still there. So yes, I don't. That's not a great situation to be in. One FE is over the other side. Are they in a platoon? They are in a platoon, so they're probably together. Now we could make a guess and say that they are both over that way. I can then push this. I can then kill this. Well, I don't quite roll high enough, but. Yes, I'm now going to take a shot for that. That's fine. It goes into my tracks. I mean, this guy's now one shot for everyone, though. So that is a benefit. Let's just see if we can get a shot on this 260. If I had killed that guy, I would feel confident then going into pushing the 260, because then that means our team can then push up as well. Right, this guy pushing, very good. Now I can go in. I can ignore the YAG as well. We can put 1 into this guy. And then go down, hopefully avoiding the Jagdpanzer in altogether. Now I just need this guy to die, and then everything else is absolutely great. Put one into him, he then dies. Hopefully the Jagdpanzer or the STRV can kill him. No. Whatever. I mean, we've done 4.4k. We win this flank. We managed to clear it out. We did well. I was hoping my team was a little bit faster, but it doesn't matter. So yes, a very good game to end it on, actually. I think that we played okay in this. Very good. Very, very good overall. We've done the damage. We won the flank. Everything was great. That is how you should be playing the IS-7. And of course, apply. So to do that, we obviously do only 3.5. We should have done more. This should have been around about 3.8 to 4k, but we played very, very bad in the middle game. Made it up for in the last game, but very, very poor gameplay in the second game. But that also shows you how easy it is to misplay, and everybody does it. But yes, that is the IS-7. It is fast, it has very good hold down potential, one of the best turrets in the game, and good hull armor as well. I have said that the 277 is better for new players, and I still stand by that. I think that you need to know what you're doing in the IS-7 to really get the most out of this vehicle, especially with that standard pen and premium pen. It just really isn't up to scratch of what tier 10 should be at the moment. And that is why I don't recommend going down the IS-7 as the first tier 10 anymore, because it really is just a horrible experience for new players once they reach tier 10 and they feel like they just can't pen anything, because if they go to the heavy tank flank, what are you going to do with 250 pen? Not a lot. Unless you know what to aim for and prioritize your targets correctly, that's when the IS-7 can be very, very good. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.